Hello guys, welcome to the Precise Management Consultant, the course of preparation for energy audit examination. In this session, we are going to cover 19th examination question papers. In last lecture, we have already covered the 20th examination with conceptual explanation. In last section, we have already discussed about the question paper patterns, so we'll not repeat again. So let's start with the section 1. Section 1 is of the brief type questions. Total number of questions in the section 1 is 10 and each of carrying 1 marks. So total weightage for the section 1 is 10 marks. Question number 1. Capacity of the screw compressor cannot be controlled by discharge throttling. True or false? Answer is true. Now question number 2. The package air conditioner of 5 ton of refrigeration capacity delivered a cooling effect of 4 ton of refrigeration if energy efficiency ratio is 2.9. The power in kilowatt drawn by the compressor would be, we have to calculate. So see, so capacity of the air conditioner, we have given here the 5 tons, but it is operating at 4 tons of refrigeration, actual delivered of output. And ratio, if energy efficiency ratio is given 2.9. So what is energy efficiency ratio? Energy efficiency ratio is cooling effect delivered in kilowatt divided by power generation by the compressor in kilowatt. So power generation by the compressor in kilowatt, we have to calculate. Energy efficiency ratio is given to us, whereas cooling effect in terms of refrigeration we have given to us. We have to convert it into the kilowatt. So what is the conversion factors? 1 ton of refrigeration is equal to 3024 kilocalorie or 3.52 kilowatt. So we'll put this value here, okay, and multiply with the tons of refrigeration. We'll get the answer. So 4 tons of refrigeration is operating into 3.52. This is the conversion factors to convert into the kilowatt, and 2.9 is our EER. So answer is 4.85. Now question number 3. If the steam generation of boiler is reduced to 45%, the radiation loss from the surface of boiler will be reduced by the same ratio. True or false? Answer is false, because the radiation loss does not depend on the operated load of the boiler or the systems. It is only depends on temperature and wind velocity, not on the operating load. Understood? Now question number 4. The gross calorific value of coal is 4200 kcal per kg and specific fuel consumption is 0.6 kg per kWh. What is the power station gross efficiency? Okay, so power station gross efficiency, let's see first. Power station gross efficiency is 860 divided by gross heat rate. Now we can modify, we know this factor is known to us, that is conversion factors, but we do not know the gross heat rate. Now what is the gross heat rate? Gross heat rate is a fuel flow into GCV divided by power generation. So fuel GCV of coal is given to us, that is 4200. We can put this value here. And what is this fuel flow into power generation? We can say is a specific fuel consumption, that is also given to us 0.6. So if we put the value here, we can get gross heat rate, and this gross heat rate will put here, and we'll get the power station gross efficiency. Understood? So power station gross efficiency is equal to 860 divided by specific fuel consumption into GCV. This is a modified formula by considering these two equations. So we'll put value here 860 divided by 4200 into 0.6. 0.6 is your specific fuel consumption. So answer is 34.12% is your gross power station efficiency. Always be note that while solving the equation, please take care of the unit. If that is power gross efficiency, we have given 860 divided by gross heat rate. It is applicable only for the equation unit is given in the kilocalorie. If unit is given in the kilojoule, it will be 3600 instead of 860. Please note that. Question number 5. If measure input power of the 90 kilowatt motor is 45, then calculated loading of the motor is 50%. True or false? Answer is false, because we can see the percentage loading formula here. Operating load into motor efficiency divided by motor rating. So here 45 kg is the input power measure at the motor. That is operating load, we can say here 45 kilowatt, but divide by operating input of the motor. So operating input of the motor we do not know. This is a 90 kilowatt is given the motor rating. It is nameplate rating. Okay, so nameplate rating means it is output of the motor, not input. So to get the input, we must know the efficiency, and efficiency we have not given here. So we cannot say that the measure input power with this statement is 50% loading. Not. It is not 50%. It should be less than 50% while considering efficiency. Question number 6. The speed of the energy efficient motor will be more than the standard operating of same capacity because dash 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 decreases. Answer is slip. If we can see here, synchronous speed minus slip is equal to synchronous speed minus actual speed, where the synchronous speed is a theoretical speed which we can calculate it with the formula of 120 F by P, which is almost constant. The change is speed is net, that is actual speed, which reflect on the slip. So slip is less, the speed is more. We can see from here. So answer is slip. Now, question number 7. O2 in the flue gas is required in the direct method efficiency evaluation of the boiler. True or false? Answer is false, because O2 does not required in the direct method. It is required in the indirect method. Now, question number 8. To minimize the scale losses in the reheating furnace, the furnace would be operated at negative pressure. True or false? Answer is false, because when we operate the furnace at negative pressure, it will ingress the air into the furnace, and this will be the chance of increase the scale formation. That's why answer is statement is false. Question number 9. The heat rate of the power plant will reduce when there is an increase of inlet cooling water temperature to the condenser. True or false? Answer is false. It does not have any relationship with the cooling tower temperature to the condenser. Question number 10. A typical cogen system in the cement plant will come under the category of topping cycle. True or false? Answer is false again, because in cement industry, the first preference is given to the process, not for the power, and balance rejected heat is utilized for the power generation. So that's why it is coming under the bottoming cycle. It is not a topping cycle. What is the criteria of the topping cycle? Topping cycle, we have to give the preference to the power first and then the process. But in this case, it is exactly opposite. That's why it is a bottoming cycle, not topping cycle. Okay, this is the end of the section 1. Now let's move to the section 2. Section 2 is for the short numerical question type. There are the total 2 questions and each of having 5 marks. The weightage of the section 2 is again 10 marks. Now question number 1 in section 2. coal-based power plant A is having a gross heat rate of 2400 kcal per kWh, with auxiliary consumption, power consumption is 8%, whereas the plant B of same size and make has operating the net heat rate with 2500 kcal per kWh. In your opinion, which plant is more efficient and why? Okay, so let's talk about the solution. What is gross heat rate? Gross heat rate is heat input in kilocalorie divided by power generation in kWh. Now, what is net heat rate? First, net heat rate is the same heat input to the system divided by power generation minus auxiliary power consumption. In this case, we subtract auxiliary power consumption. So our first target is to keep both the cases in the same platform, because here we are giving a gross heat rate and here we are giving a net heat rate. It is very difficult to take the decisions because both are not on the same platform. So first we'll bring it to the same platform. We'll first calculate for the plant A with net heat rate, and then we'll take the decision, right? So let's calculate the net heat rate for the plant A. Simply modified formula for net heat rate by considering these equations, these two equations, we can say. So the net heat rate is equal to gross heat rate divided by 1 minus auxiliary power consumption in percentage. So gross heat rate for the plant is given to us, that is 2400 kilocalorie per kWh, and auxiliary power consumption is also in term of percentage we have given. So we can easily calculate the net heat rate for the plant A. So plant A net heat rate is by putting the value here. Gross heat rate is 2400 divided by 1 minus 8%. So answer is net heat rate for power plant A is your 2608.7. Now we can say we get the net heat rate for the plant A also, and we have net heat for the net heat rate for the plant B. So from this we can clearly identify the plant B is having a lower heat rate as compared to plant A. Hence, we can say that plant B is more efficient than the plant A. Please note that heat rate should be as low as possible. Lower the heat rate, more the plant efficient. Question number 2. Milk is flowing in the pipe cooler at the rate of 0.85 kg per second. Initial temperature of the milk is 55 degree centigrade and cooled at 18 degree centigrade. Using the stirred water bath with a constant temperature of 10 degree centigrade around the pipe. Specific heat of the milk is 3.86 kilojoule per kg degree centigrade. Calculate the heat transfer rate in kilocal per hour and also LMTD of the heat exchanger. Okay, let's construct the diagram first. So this is the heat exchanger. Milk is flowing in this way with the temperature of 55 degrees centigrade and having a specific heat of 3.86 kilojoule, and mass flow rate is also given to us, that is 0.85 kg per second. Mass remains same while inlet and outlet. Specific heat will also remain same, only changing is the temperature. It is going down to the 18 degree centigrade with a constant temperature maintaining at the heat exchanger, that is 10 degree temperature. This is the stirred bath water with constant temperature 10 degree. Here we have drawn here. So terminal, let's calculate the terminal temperature difference first. Between this point and this point is 45 degrees centigrade, that is 55 minus 10, and between this point to this point at outlet, 18 minus 10 is 8 degrees centigrade. Okay, so we have to calculate heat transfer rate first and then LMTD. So what is heat transfer rate? Simply mass flow into specific heat into delta T. So mass flow rate is given to us, that is 0.85 kg per second, and 3.86 is a specific heat. In kilojoule we have given, not in kilocalorie. Please make a note or take care about the you can say the unit. And temperature in degree centigrade. So what will be the net answer is 121.4. Answer is will become in the kilojoule per second, not in kilocalorie. Okay, because we have given specific heat here in kilojoule. Now, and what he is asking, that heat transfer rate in kilocalorie. Okay, we have get the kilojoule per second. So if, when we multiply it by the 3600, it will be in kilojoule per hour, and it is factor is to convert the kilocalorie is 4.18. When we divided it to this value with 4.18, we'll get the answer in kilocalorie per hour. So answer is 104,555 kilocalorie per hour. This is the conversion factor. As I told, 1 hour is equal to 3600 second, and 1 kilocalorie is equal to 4.18 kilojoule per second. Sorry, kilojoule. Hope you understood. Now our next step is LMTD. The formula of LMTD is a difference of this temperature, delta 1, delta T1 minus delta T2 divided by L logarithmic root log of this temperature divided by this temperature. So 50 while solving this by putting the value, we'll get the answer is 21.4 degree centigrade.